All right, so today we have an interview with Quinn. Connor runs Accounting Freedom Group, where he helps mid-sized businesses go beyond basic bookkeeping and actually strategize using tax planning, CFO oversight, and financial systems to help grow more profitably. We're going to talk about what he does, why it matters, and how adding a CPA to your financial arsenal can seriously amplify your business and personal life. So, Connor, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it.
Of course. Since we're both Connor's last name is Quinn, so I'm going to refer to him as Quinn. It's too weird for me to call him Connor, and he's one of the crazy two-N Connors, so Quinn it's going to be.
Two N's are spelled correctly in Connor, not one.
No, all the cool Connors have one N. Connor McGregor, Connor Bedard, all the crazy ones have two.
Whatever.
But anyway, so tell us the story behind Accounting Freedom Group. What motivated you to start your own firm?
Yeah. So basically I wanted to start helping business owners and be really the one-stop shop with bookkeeping, accounting, tax planning, tax preparation, and then a little bit of outsourced controllership services. So that's really what motivated me. And then being able to serve clients within all aspects, because now we get to see the whole bigger picture. So that's one of the reasons why I started Accounting Three Group. So
Yeah, appreciate that. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on maybe your background prior to starting your own company?
yeah, so obviously played a little bit of college hockey with you, so that was a lot of fun. So we had a good time. But really, I mean, it was, after hockey, it was just time to grow up, and getting an accounting degree. I remember sitting with you in a couple finance accounting classes. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, accounting always did well with math. So I started taking accounting and finance courses. And really it took off there. Started auditing financial statements for public accounting firms in the Chicagoland area, grind away 60 to 80-hour weeks during the tax season. Then I really just fell out of love with checklists, and then fell in love with more so advising and helping business owners really understand their whole financial picture.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing that. So, what are some of the common financial or accounting mistakes you see smaller, mid-sized businesses make when they don't have a strong CFO or accounting partnership?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I see is, businesses will come in and they will hire a separate bookkeeper, a separate maybe controller, a separate tax preparation service firm. And what happens is that most of the time they don't really have a quarterback. They don't have someone calling the plays. They don't really have like a strategic partner that is able to make and affect those decisions to really drive and understand the financial performance of the company. So seeing all those aspects really can definitely help a lot of business owners have more of a strong financial footing with their business.
And so, this is probably my favorite question. Is it true that accountants are boring and they're not nearly as fun as financial advisors? That's why there's way more two-N Connor accountants and way more one-N Connor financial advisors.
Yeah, accountants are pretty boring. There's nothing sexy about accounting.
Well, no, I joke. I know a lot of my clients being paired with a CPA and having that relationship together with them is super important, especially an accountant that, as you've mentioned, you're kind of drawn towards the strategy side more on the business end. I'm drawn towards strategy side more on the personal end. So if we can marry those together, it's usually a good relationship with the client if they have a trusted accountant and a trusted financial advisor. Even better if they're working together to kind of strategize and put everything together. So, uh,
Yeah, there could be really pretty cool things when you have a a dynamic duo of a financial advisor and a CPA that work together. And really one of those examples is, a lot of times we can come in, recommend, a solo 401k, Roth IRA, things like that. But you guys are really at that quarterback level where you can, you know, put together those solo 401k plans, the Roth IRAs, open those up for the clients. But where we can come in on the tax planning side is, you could have someone over a phase out, and we're trying to get them down underneath the phase out while implementing potentially a solo 401k to get within maybe a range of a phase out of the QBI deduction. So then they actually get the QBI deduction that'll help lower their tax liability. So that's why I believe that it's so important with the financial advisor and a CPA to come together for a client, because a lot of times that just doesn't happen. And before year end, we really have to really strategize with our client, bring everybody to the table. And if we're not bringing everybody to the table, usually it becomes a mess. So we want everybody at the table, the financial advisor and CPA, to really work together to really drive down their future tax liability. So I just wanted to touch up on that on the previous point.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's always something that maybe the financial advisor is going to pick up on that the accountant wouldn't. And just like your example, the accountant's probably going to pick up on the QBI deduction and maybe the financial advisor misses that. I know we were working in a scenario where the SALT deduction phase out comes into play. And that's something that, might get missed if you don't have a team of people that are working at with kind of every angle of your financial situation and helping you kind of figure out, okay, if we do something to save $10,000 in taxes, what's that marginal tax rate? Well, that's pretty high if it's, going to save you
Yeah.
from that deduction phase out or a QBI phase out. So yeah, just kind of to your point, I think, marrying the two together is, I know I've seen it with just having, positive outcomes for the client.
And the, a growth minded business owner that wants to buy more equipment, more trucks, if they're a trucking company, construction companies, like if they have a good year, there's a really good opportunity we can drive down that tax rate underneath the phase out. Um, like you were saying, to be able to put some money away. So,
Yeah, for sure. Getting back to business consulting. So I know some people, they might think their CPA just records what happens to them. I know your firm and the approach that you take, you're doing a lot more strategizing and kind of forward thinking, as well as doing the bookkeeping, the tax filing, all of that. So it's fair to say, you provide business consulting services. So what does that service look like and who should consider it?
yeah, it's there's a lot to business consulting, but I will relate back to being the quarterback and having the high level oversight of everything. Business consulting can come all the way down, all the way to bookkeeping. If you have garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. And I see it time and time again with new clients that come in, and it really starts at the bookkeeping level, and having a really good bookkeeper or a firm that does the bookkeeping, accounting, tax planning and tax preparation. But also, business consulting could be anywhere from strategizing for potential growth, like we just talked about with tax planning. Tax planning does go hand in hand with growth opportunities within your business, because purchasing that vehicle or purchasing really something that's going to drive a ROI, or hiring an employee, understanding their, self-employment tax levels and the reasonable salary that we discuss. So those are a lot of the things that business consulting is really included. So it's just that high level quarterback approach. And I think that a financial advisor like you, and me working together on something like that, that's definitely something that a lot of clients can benefit from, that there's probably 5 to 10% of them that are actually doing.
Yeah, for sure. And as you know, tax planning is much more than just the yearly tax returns. There's a whole lot more that goes into that. Could you walk us through a couple of proactive tax planning strategies that you've used that have ended up saving clients significant money?
Yeah. So, the biggest thing that I love a Roth IRA. That's tax-free growth in the future. So putting money away in a Roth IRAs, if you're underneath the thresholds, are that's definitely significant for the future. Now for, now or current tax year, it could be anywhere from research and development tax credits to cost segregation studies, and all the way down to buying some equipment before year end. What's a bottleneck in your business right now that you are having trouble with? And then being able to identify that, communicate that across your team, and then getting the go ahead from your tax planner. Because once you have a tax projection, you can understand your tax liability with, a little bit of a standard deviation, but you can really dial in on what you can impact before the end of the year to have that ROI. So those are some tax planning strategies. Like there's simple ones, right? Like, I mean, the solo 401k, you set that up for me. So thank you. So there's things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So what industries tend to benefit the most from your services? I know on your website you list like medical practices, construction, real estate, etc. I know there's kind of a wide range of industries that you work with, but what are some maybe unique challenges or financial pitfalls that specific industries that you've worked with face that a specialized CPA can help address?
yeah, so I work a lot with construction companies currently. Construction companies, they don't know what they don't know. A lot of times. So it's really getting in the owner's head and being able to make recommendations, being on top of them because they're always growth. They're always growth. They're always like within real estate development, construction within real estate development. Those are some clients of ours. And then also dentists, understanding and reorganizing. We're currently going through a reorganization for one of the dentists right now. So, and that's really on a tax planning side, but being able to work with those types of business owners, because one of the biggest things that I see sometimes is like, all right, with tax planning and doing a tax projection, you kind of need to know what your future tax liability is. And if you can't pay it, that can be trouble. So we need to make sure we understand our tax liability beforehand in order to understand that future growth that we can implement. But we also have to have cash because cash is the resources we need to be able to operate and pay our people.
Yeah, definitely. So when a business owner is on the fence about maybe outsourcing, so you've talked to them, they know they need someone like you, but they're just not quite ready. They think they can do it themselves. They want to spend their, evenings on QuickBooks themselves. What are some of the bigger value propositions that you could use to maybe get someone kind of over the fence and using your services as opposed to keeping it in-house?
Yeah. So like if you have a doctor or somebody dentist or they need help. Now, the biggest thing that I see is that, like I said, garbage in, garbage out. They file a tax return where the accounting isn't really accounting. It's just a bunch of stuff that they just push through a tax return. So understanding that there's a right way and a wrong way to accounting to be able to file an accurate tax return is something that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, well, I think what you're touching on is, I think you even said this earlier. A lot of people, I mean, they don't know what they don't know from an accounting standpoint. They don't know if they're filing it correctly. They don't know if there's strategies that they could use. So I think kind of the big hurdle is educating people that you're someone that's able to help them. I know when I'm talking to people about retirement, they might say, well, I've done it my whole life. I don't know why I need a financial advisor now. What are you going to do that's different than what I'm going to do? I can go ahead and just do that myself. It's like, okay, well, how much do you plan on spending each month in retirement? So I don't know. I haven't that. When are you thinking about filing Social Security? Have you thought about Roth conversions? Does it make sense to move some of those funds strategically into your Roth account before you turn on Social Security and RMDs hit? And there's always so many things when you kind of dig into it. Um, I find it when people are already interested in those topics, they understand that they don't know what they don't know, and those are the people that I found they're motivated to learn with you. And I always say I want to like build a plan with you, not just for you. If I build a plan for you, you're never going to follow it. If we build one together, then you're going to understand it. So I think there's a lot of overlap there too on the accounting side when you're talking
Yeah.
about small businesses, just kind of educating those on what they don't know, or just getting to the point that they understand that they don't know what they don't know, and being able to help them kind of bridge that gap together through a partnership.
Probably for business owners, you have your biggest asset in your business. Like that is your biggest asset. So if your business is your biggest asset, like you still have to probably put some money away into more liquid funds, which is what you guys do. And because diversification is the name of the game, and I can't speak much to that, but that's something that I believe in is like you have to drip here. And that's where you can come in and really level up their game and really level up their liquidity, financial security, and future earnings. So yeah, no, that's huge.
So looking ahead at tax laws are always changing. I know recently the one big beautiful bill that had a huge implications on the tax code, but they're continuously evolving and the business environment shifts. How do you kind of stay ahead of, your understanding of how to best help clients?
With being a CPA, and you always have to be learning because things are changing so fast. And if you look at AI is changing a little bit of the landscape right now. One of the biggest things that I do is, CPE, certified public education, get those credits. And then it comes down to staying ahead. Sometimes a client can ask a question and it comes down to research. And most of the time we are researching for our clients for just to make sure and double check. But then once you type in something in AI, you cannot really default to AI being 100% correct. Then it defaults to, more research, IRS website, things like that for compliance to make sure that you are compliant, things like that. So yeah, it just comes down to CPE, utilizing AI within a secure framework. And then, yeah, just good resources and having that mental muscle of things in the past that went right for clients and not a lot went wrong for me for clients. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. And yeah, I think what you touched on there with, finding the right answers, I remember when I was a youngin in college or maybe right out of college and I, met accountants that I found very impressive or financial advisors. It's like, man, they know so much. And really what I found is that the really, really good accountants and the really good financial advisors, it doesn't matter what they know off the top of their head. They're really good at finding the right answer, and they're really good at doing that efficiently, and they're confident enough to where if a client puts them on a spot, they don't make up an answer so that the client thinks they're smart. They take the
Yeah.
time, research, and get back to them with the best answer possible and make sure that, that they're crossing the T's, dotting the I's, not missing anything important. That's what I've found is it's the ones that always follow through and make sure that they're doing the best for the client no matter what. So
Yeah.
one thing you mentioned on AI, so this kind of conversation that's out there right now is jobs going away because of AI. I'll kind of tell you quickly on my end, I think that you can use AI to amplify, maybe automate some of the more mundane tasks in the financial planning world. I don't think it's ever going to take away from the personal relationship that we have with our clients, but I'm curious kind of your thoughts on the CPA. Is there certain jobs that end up going away? Does it just make your job easier?
Yeah. So AI is a great tool and resource to help us and increase our efficiency across different jobs and different projects. But the number one thing with AI is that you have to prompt it to tell it what to do. And we have to make sure that we check it. But it has gained efficiencies. Like Intuit has used AI. I mean, for YouTube earners that file their own tax return, you can literally click a button now to draft the tax return with those forms. So those are things that AI can really be used um, to help, finish and prepare returns. But at a very high level, I just don't see it really coming in to play. Even construction accounting, like I just don't think it can do construction accounting, and separate out projects by class and things like that. So it potentially could, but you have to prompt it.
Right, and yeah, and the oversight of it is always gonna need to be there because if, AI I know I've put into ChatGPT questions, and this was kind of just to see how good they were, and they got it wrong because they pulled from an article with outdated information. And so, there always is gonna have to be that oversight, especially if you're automating tasks that like bookkeeping or something like that. There's still gonna have to be some level of oversight, to make sure that mistakes like that aren't being made. And then also, again, just kind of going back to the personal relationship. If you're a business consultant working with a construction company, you're going to always have a better understanding of their business needs than an AI chatbot or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's for sure. But no, I just don't see it taking over. So maybe entry level.
So, okay, finally, for someone watching this who is a business owner or aspiring to build a business, what's one piece of advice that you wish every entrepreneur would take to heart?
So I think saving and investing, learning the time value of money for younger people, that's more so in the finance space. And then, a lot of people are having kids, and a lot of my friends, they're like, kids are too expensive. If you save and invest, you can potentially grow into that. Really, to me, the true meaning of happiness is being able to spend time with my son. Like, that's the true meaning of happiness, and with family too, right? So going fishing, things like that. And that's what I think younger people should do, is save and invest and take some risks. So it's a lot of fun. You lose money along the way, but you end up figuring it out. So
Yeah,
you
that's
more so gain.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I absolutely love that. That goes well with my tagline, money is a tool. You've maybe heard me say that before. It's a tool to enjoy your life. It's never a final destination. If you treat it like a final destination, you're going to be one of the most unhappy people on this planet. So I think you just summed that up very perfectly. But yeah, I guess we'll end on that. So thank you guys for listening. If there's anyone out there that works in the financial services space, whether they're an accountant, bookkeeper, whatever it is, maybe you're even a small business owner yourself. I'm going to be doing more interviews like this. Thanks for sitting through this first one. I'll hopefully this will be my worst interview as far as the person doing it, and it'll only get better.
You were
Quinn,
great.
thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on, and appreciate the partnership we've been able to have working with some clients and bringing the best results to them. So yeah, with that, money is a tool, knowledge is freedom, and planning is power. Have a good rest of your day.
Cool. Thank you.
Next time, I'm not going to drink a Red Bull before.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
And
of course.
don't get approval from me on the video. Just post it.
You don't want to see it?
I hate seeing myself.